So recently in our private Facebook chat, where we talk about random things before the show, I don't know who it was, but I think maybe it was Derek, you brought up funkifying yourself. If I'm saying it correctly? Funko popping yourself? Funkoing yourself, yeah.
Okay.
Explain this, please.
That did not sound good.
Please explain this to. Please
don't put that word on your bingo card.
Please explain this to the listeners out there real quick.
Yeah. Now I have to add funkifying myself to Soggy in the Lobby to XXX to Harken Back.
All right, I'm not even going to let you explain it at this point. If you know what it is, if you don't, Google it. But here is Funko Pop Derek for anyone that would like one.
We still don't understand the pink hair because Derek doesn't see it with his color blindness.
So when I sent this to you guys, and I was so proud because it took me 30 seconds to build it. I didn't order it. But I go, hey, I think I did a pretty good job. And then one of you guys were like, yeah, but did you mean to do that with the hair? And I said, well, what do you mean? And they're like, well, it's got pink hair. Are you planning on making your hair pink? And I was like, oh, it's pink? And I was like, because I'm colorblind. So I can't tell the difference of white and pink colorblind. So I'm like, okay, thanks for...
I think you leave it alone, just the way it is, and then you dye your hair to match the Funko.
Right.
Exactly, yes.
Jeff, are you going to Funko yourself?
I actually played with it after Derek
now
said
you're
that.
doing it, right?
Why? I didn't say anything.
I would definitely like to Funko myself. Yeah.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the DVC Show. I am your host, Paul Krieger, and I'm joined, as always, by my lovely wife, Amy Krieger.
Hello.
We've got John Sakari, a.k.a. Big Fat Panda, with us.
Welcome home, everyone.
Jeff Haslam is here as well. And the one, the only, pink hair...
I feel like we're on an episode of Whose Line Is It Anyway? We need to do props.
I have these on because Jeff told me when this show came out, and I said, I can't believe we're going to do a show on Grand Floridian versus Riviera. I said, be prepared for a fight. So, Jeff, I'm ready.
Ready.
That's this show, right?
They're not boxing gloves, they're hockey gloves, aren't they?
They're my son's old lacrosse gloves.
See, I'm way off. Well, there you have it. That was Derek DeBoer, too, for anyone playing the home game that couldn't figure it out by that point. But yeah, welcome to the DVC show. That was a wild entry to this show, but fitting, I guess, because I feel like this show is going to be a little bit of a boxing match and all over the place. This was a topic that Amy had written down. We have a list of topics to choose from, and I saw Grand Floridian versus Riviera, and I said, yes, please. I'd like to see the world fight those duels. And so that is today's show. It is the battle of the Titans when it comes to Disney Vacation Club properties, because this has been an argument, I think, for the better part of ever since Riviera opened. You know, it was dubbed as the Grand Floridian of the Epcot area, and dutifully so. You know, it is a beautiful property. You know, it is the rooms are some of the most beautiful rooms that we've seen come into the Disney Vacation Club repertoire for a while. And I'll add to that it also they hold up well. They're still pretty several years later, but I'm not going to spoil all the fun and give you all of my thoughts on Riviera versus Grand Floridian just yet. But we're going to go around the room and kind of get everyone's opinion. And also, we put a poll up over in the DVC Fan Facebook group to get the opinion of you all as well. And we'll share some of the comments and some of the responses because it got a little bit spicy in there, but nothing too bad. But before we get into it, this and all of our content here on DVC Fan is brought to you by the world of DVC resale market. If you're looking to buy or sell a Riviera or a Grand Floridian contract, or any contract for that matter, they can assist. Monera Financial can help with financing that DVC resale contract purchase, and the DVC rental store, where you can try before you buy, rent some points to stay at the Grand Floridian or the Riviera. Or if you've got some extra points at one of those resorts, we always have people that are looking to stay there, and you can rent your points out for cash. So DVC rental store for that. But all right, boxing gloves ready, Derek. We are ready to go into it. I thought at the beginning of this, I'm gonna try to keep like a running timer, and I think that everyone has a good 2 to 3 minutes to state their case, state their feelings, and then maybe we'll have like a 1 minute rebuttal round, so it can be like a true debate. Was anybody in debate?
I feel like
I was.
okay. I worry that Panda is going to be the only one on one side of the fence.
I could be swayed either way.
I think I'm going to surprise you because I thought you would
my.
think that.
Don't
You would
spoil
think
it.
that.
Oh, okay.
Good night. Have a good one. So we are going to go around the room, get everyone's opinion on this. And Amy, I will kick things off with you.
Oh gosh. Well, it's not. It's
Do you
not
want
going
to start the timer yet?
Do I only get like a minute?
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
You get 3 minutes.
And as they say in Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail, Amy, choose wisely. That's all.
Oh, my dog is making some noise.
Here we go.
There's no
All
movie
right.
called Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail, by the way.
As soon as I said it, I go, God, Jeff's gonna say some crap because I said the wrong movie.
Indiana Jones never rode down the desert with coconuts.
Okay, that does not cut into my 3 minutes.
Yeah, you're down to 2 minutes and 30
No.
seconds.
Okay, my favorite of the two is Grand Floridian. I think most people know that. It is one of my favorite resorts on property. To me, it is the crown jewel of Disney World. It is the flagship hotel. It is what you see in those beautiful Disneyland commercials with Cinderella running down the staircase and the monorail going through. It is just picture perfect. But besides that, what I love about Grand Floridian is the grand lobby, big multi-story, all the wonderful things that they have going on during the holidays, a huge Christmas tree and gingerbread house, the Easter eggs during Easter. Also, they have a piano, and someone plays sometimes. I do miss the orchestra, but that's another story. And then you've got really great dining, sans a few restaurants that Jeff Haslam hates. But you've got, you've got Citrico's, you got Narcoossee's, which is just one of the best restaurants on property right now. You've got Gasparilla's, one of the best quick service. You've got Enchanted Rose, lots of great food there. You've got a Michelin star restaurant right there at Grand Floridian Resort. Then you can walk to the Polynesian. You can walk to Magic Kingdom. If you really want to get spunky, you can walk all the way to Bay Lake Tower Contemporary. You just got to walk all the way around. But then you've got monorail transportation. You've got boat transportation. You've got so many ways to avoid the Disney buses, which I like. Grand Floridian is it for me. And I absolutely love the original villas. I just think those rooms are beautiful. And every time I stay there, I love just the decor and the space and the views from the balcony, looking at the monorail or the lake or, whatever. So that is my 2 minutes, my time up.
You still have 53 seconds if you want to use it.
I'm good.
No, that was a beautiful ode to
Amy, were you ever going to be a lawyer? Were you ever going to be a lawyer?
I'm telling you, she can sell you anything.
She just did. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything.
During
any day
our
of
yard sale, I
She
convinced
did.
a lot of people to take things.
even before the yard sale, before we moved, like when family would come over, she would convince them that they needed this, whatever it was. And our families would just like leave like with arms full of stuff, just kind of looking back at the house going, what just happened?
I made them take all the things that I didn't want to disappear from my life, but I didn't want to take the Florida. So like a giant like snowman and like this Christmas tree. So now I get to see them every year.
You know why that snowman is worth $6? Let me tell you. And that was it.
Well, there you have it. I think that was a vote of confidence for Grand Floridian. Yes. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Just checking. So there is Amy's opinion. Let's jump over to Panda and get his thoughts. And it's okay if you take some of your time to talk about,
Yeah. Okay. So the God's honest truth is, I bought at Riviera. We all know this. I'm in love with the Riviera, but I will not sit here and lie to you and say that it beats the Grand Floridian. I won't.
Oh, right.
I won't. I didn't buy at the Grand Floridian. I think it was more expensive. And I think my thought was I want the gondola is there to take me to either Epcot or the studio. So that's why I love the Riviera. But there's no doubt that the Grand Floridian is the winner. Come on. Just where it is. The Seven Seas Lagoon is my life. Like, I feel like if I drop dead tomorrow, throw me in the lagoon. That's where I want to be. It's the section of my life that I love that lagoon. That's a little weird to say that, but and yeah, that whole area is just beautiful. The Grand Floridian. When I walked into the lobby this week, I just remembered it wasn't so crowded, and you just look up at those three domes. It's gorgeous. Again, though, just to push the Riviera, I think the Riviera is a good close second. I do, but I think it's the baby brother or the little sister to the Grand Floridian. So the Grand Floridian still wins in this argument for me, but I love the Riviera.
That was only like a minute and 30 seconds. That was...
Well, you know what it is? Amy said everything. I mean, the restaurants, everything. It's on a different scale. The Grand Floridian's it's on a different scale.
I forget.
And being
I
that close to Cinderella.
Swimming pools too.
Oh,
which are way nicer, I feel like. Like, they're just bigger, and they have like the waterfall and the really good pool bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Haslam, give us your wisdom.
I'm going to catch so much hate for this. I am on the other side of the fence, but barely. And everything that you guys have said is absolutely true. It's a gorgeous resort. And I think 10 years ago, it was absolutely the flagship. And I don't think the Riviera rises to that level, but I don't think the Grand does either anymore. And so I personally like Riviera better. I like the rooms better. I like Topolino's better. Well, not more than Citricos, but definitely more than everything else over there. My thing, I'm a big gondola person. The Skyliner gets you to two parks where your bus from Grand Floridian, except for the monorail, if you can get on the thing, but it's the last stop, so you're never really getting on the thing. You might as well just walk. I don't know. The one bedroom at Riviera is my favorite room on property, hands down. And the views from Topolino's are really, really hard to beat. Yes, you can see fireworks from Narcoossee's, but you have to stop what you're doing and walk out to wherever you're, to do the things. I don't know. I really think the only thing I say for sure that the Grand beats Riviera is the lobby, because the lobby at Riviera sucks, but everything else about it, I love. Amy and I, while you guys went to the gift shop, we went and sat on the lake in the Adirondack chairs and just chilled. And it was just so peaceful, and no hustle and bustle, no monorail horns, none of that stuff. And I'm sorry, but we just got done eating at the Golden Corral at Grand Floridian, and I'm sorry, but you guys can talk about Grand Floridian Cafe and 1900 Park Fair all you want. Both were absolutely abysmal. So I'm barely on the side of Riviera, but just barely.
Can I reclaim my lost minute that I forfeited?
I'll allow it, because I'm just making up the rule. There are no points, and the rules don't matter. So go ahead.
Oh my God, it's like after midnight. What Jeff said about the rooms is correct, though. The Riviera rooms, they are better than the Grand Floridian rooms. Those rooms are the best on property. I'll go that far to say the Riviera rooms are the best on property.
Derek, I think we already know your opinion, but give us your best shot.
Yeah, I don't really need probably more than 5 seconds. It's the Grand freaking Floridian. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. This is literally, and that's why I joke, but I want to stress beforehand too, and I'm adamant about this. If Riviera is your jam, fantastic. What we get to do here, we just give our personal, honest opinions about it. So if you love the Riviera, I would never, ever, ever try to convince you that the Riviera is bad or this, and this. If you love it, more power to you. And I won't use my points there, so you'll be able to get in. So don't worry about that, because I will happily use my points at Disney's flagship resort. That is hands down the resort that when it opened, and every single trip, I guarantee you, every single person out there, every time that they went to the Magic Kingdom, they would, take the monorail, or they'd take the boat, or they'd take the big ferry across, and they'd look over at that building. What is that building? That's the Grand Floridian. That's Disney's flagship hotel. That's the one that they show in every single commercial when you're talking about Walt Disney World, is the Grand Floridian. That's the Grand Floridian when you walk into that lobby, even under the porte cochere. you immediately enter this different world. You are so immersed in that Disney bubble per se that you do not, unlike the Riviera, see anything really having to do with the outside world whatsoever. And then you enter that lobby with that incredible lobby smell and the multi-level and the ceiling, everything about just the lobby. And then you walk out back and then you have the great lawn. You know, you got a big like grassy lawn space there. You've got an amazing quiet pool. Then you have a marina that's right there. You also have there too, like we talked about, the dining. I could go through a laundry list of every single dining option that's there. And when I pick a resort for dining, yes, it's fantastic to have a Michelin star winning restaurant. But you know what? After a day in the park, you ain't going there with your kids to go to, $400 a plate, Victoria and Albert's. But it's there. So if you want it, but also what's great is just all the way down to their pool bars. So their pool bars have fantastic food. And again, they've got 2 pools. So I prefer the quiet pool, the big, just flat quiet pool. But there's awesome splash pad, Alice in Wonderland splash pad area for the kids. Like Amy said, with the water slide and everything else that's there. You've got 2 different Disney Vacation Club buildings. So if you want to stay right there, you can stay in the new, resort studios. You have the main building, which is obviously fantastic. The original Disney Vacation Club building. Transportation, you've got boats, you've got monorail. You can use your own legs and you can walk. There will never, ever, ever be another Grand Floridian, no matter what they say, hands down, bar none.
So you prefer the Riviera, Derek? Just to be clear,
It's what we took out of that.
I do agree with what Derek said, but I missed that orchestra. My God, I missed it.
Oh, I do too. Yeah, and like I always would hear people would always tell me, when I tell them
You've already had your time.
Stop. Panda left like 38 seconds. So here, people would always tell me, yeah, Derek, you know what? I know you love the Grand, but we're not Grand Floridian people. You hear that all the time. We're not a Grand Floridian family. It's too uppity. It's too fancy for us. It's so not the case. It's a Disney resort. You do not feel out of place. There's plenty of screaming kids at the Grand Floridian. You don't have to worry about it. But we also got 2 separate buildings and 2 separate pools. So yeah, hands down. I love the Grand.
Derek, you hit on a lot of like kind of subtopics in there that I kind of want to dive into a little bit more as part of the conversation. So, and we've all kind of mentioned them in various degrees. One is dining. And I think when you compare the two, there's just so many more options at Grand Floridian in terms of dining. But to Jeff's point, some of them are not great. I would definitely toss the ones at the bottom out the window there, and both of Rivieras have kind of knocked it out of the park. Primo Piatto, very good. We just had breakfast there not too long ago. We had a wonderful breakfast there. Back when we did our Give Kids the World Marathon show, we actually had dinner there and had a good meal there. That's Amy, you're one for sandwiches, and that had an amazing sandwich.
Yeah,
so,
no, I really like Primo Piatto. We used to not. Remember, it's definitely
we did not
won us over more lately.
It definitely but it's also weird. Primo Piatto, Primo Piatto has moved up on the list for us, but I would say Topolino's has actually gone down a little bit on the list. And I only say that because they keep messing with the menu a little bit too much over there. And when they opened, it was perfect. Everything that they did, it was absolutely perfect when they opened that. The same with the character breakfast at Topolino's, the ability to try multiple different things. It reminded me very much of almost the California Grill brunch vibe in terms of your options for breakfast, but with characters, worth every penny. But they've slowly chipped away at those offerings over time, which I feel has negatively affected Topolino's. Meanwhile, over at Grand Floridian, you've still got, even if we sit here, to your point, Jeff, and say, 1900 Park Fair and Grand Floridian Cafe are not good restaurants. You've still got Narcoossee's, Citrico's. You've got, Victoria and Albert's, which we can put in its own little category because we know that a lot of people can't go there. But Enchanted Rose and Gasparilla. We've had some good quick service at Gasparilla. So food wise, any other thoughts on just kind of comparing the two just in that subsection?
I'll go. You're right. Narcoossee's and Citrico's are awesome, and they are 2 of my favorite restaurants on property, but that's not enough for me to go to the Grand. And I feel like when I go to the Grand, I have to wear my top hat and my monocle and my suit coat because it just feels so stuffy in that lobby. And everybody, I know we're probably going to talk about, well, okay, I'll stick to the dining because that's what we're talking about. You're right that dinner at Topolino's may have slipped a little bit, but it hasn't slipped as much as the Grand Floridian Cafe. And we've already talked about 1900 Park Fair. And I'm not joking when I say it was the Golden. In fact, I think Golden Corral was better, if I'm being honest. And so
they have an ice cream machine in Golden Corral.
Yeah, we've got these really good restaurants, but everything else is meh. That's not enough for me. That's not a flagship hotel to me. That is, we've got it good where it counts, and we don't give a crap about anything else. So I don't know. I think Primo Piatti and Topolino's character breakfast,
the best.
Yeah, there isn't a better one.
Yep.
That is the best character. I will go down saying that's the best character breakfast. But Amy, to your point, I couldn't believe there was not an ice cream machine for dessert at a buffet at Disney. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I love Topolino's. I'm just, and I know some of their menu is seasonal, so I get that they switch some things out, but I feel like the menu is very limited.
Mm-hmm.
And the pasta selection is very limited. And I love that lobster pasta. And I'm pretty sure it's not on the menu right now.
I don't know of a better way to put it than it never got its mojo back after the pandemic. I think that's honestly the best way to put it.
Right. Didn't it have like a cheese cart?
It had a cheese cart.
We never even got to experience.
It had the giant tomahawk chop. It had just an amazing menu and an amazing variety, but not too much either, which you expect from like a signature experience.
Oh, really quick, the coffee shop. You can get like non-Joffrey's, non-friggin' Disney coffee.
It's a serious cafe, yeah.
And cocktails at night, which most people don't know.
Yeah. No, that's
at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Ooh, did not know that.
Moving on from food, another subsection is kind of just talking about the rooms and the view categories. And I'm kind of giving my thoughts here as I discuss these a little bit to let you know where I'm leaning. But for Riviera, I've always kind of been verbal about the thought of, why do you call the view of the lake essentially preferred and charge more points for it? And it's always available. It's it's the last thing to get booked up at Riviera for that reason. When you've got the standard view, which I understand is a parking lot view, which is probably why they call it a standard view, but you can watch the fireworks from Epcot. And so it definitely, they could have almost called it a theme park view if they wanted to, and I probably would have paid an upcharge to be on that side versus be on the other side. But hindsight's 2020 on that. But that's just how I've always thought of Riviera. But in terms of the rooms, they're hands down the most beautifully appointed rooms on Disney property. I do not argue that whatsoever, and it's the full package when it comes to that. It is not just the thought of the chair. It's not just the thought of this linen here or that there. They have the custom artwork that is injected throughout that we own 2 pieces of that are in our home here.
I do love it.
I've said this before, but again, a huge missed opportunity for all of these other resorts to not be selling the artwork, even the artwork that they recently put into Boulder Ridge. Just all of that artwork could be sold and an easy moneymaker because, just beautiful, beautiful stuff. But how all of that was built into the framework of Riviera, it is a beautiful resort and it's holding up extremely well. They didn't cut any corners when it came to the construction cost and what they're doing there. And we see them doing that with other projects. And that's the sad part. Even we just did an entire news show, the show before this, talking about the new Polynesian DVC tower, the Island Tower. You can see that they have cut back on things in the construction process of the Island Tower just based off of the couple photos that they sent us already. The pool is scaled back from the original pool design. And so it makes you worried about, just the long-term nature of how maybe that will hold up. We saw it with Disneyland Hotel when we went out to Disneyland Hotel. Funny story. If you look back at our videos when we were there for the grand opening of the Disneyland Hotel Tower, there was a mirror on the closet door that has to slide out of the way, and it's only held up by this bracket on top, but it's this mirror that actually slides and it shows some storage, and then it slides back. But if you don't slide it all the way back, you can try to open the door to that and it gets caught on the mirror. And we said from
they're already gone.
Yeah, we said that day, we were like, oh, this thing's going to be ripped clean off. We've got reports already. The mirrors are gone. Mirrors are gone.
Yeah.
So it's Riviera. They did it right because they looked at what do people want and how do we make it functional? How do we make it hold up? And that's what I love Riviera about. That's my knock to Grand Floridian when it comes to what they did at Big Pine Key. Because I think that refurbishment, the theming is great, but I do not think that is going to hold up well over the lifetime of that property.
I'm still hung up on Topolino's. When you were talking, I was trying to find the menu, which, by the way, I don't know if I just couldn't spell it right or if their search function is not working right now. But there is one pasta on the whole menu right now, and it's just that chicken rigatoni. And I mean,
that can't go anywhere. If that chicken rigatoni goes off, you'll read about me in the news.
But to me, that's not like an Italian. You know what I mean? I want like tomatoes and shrimp and whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I love Topolino's. I think that the food there is great. I love the ricotta appetizer. The pasta is very fresh. But you've got noodles, pasta hanging in the glass case like it's, decor. Like you think like, oh, that's what they're making dinner with.
Fresh pasta.
I think there'd be 4 dishes with that.
Yeah, you've got lights that literally are hanging noodles, and there's one rigatoni dish, and that's it. No other pasta on the menu right now. So I wish that they would up the pasta options because it is, it's like an Italian.
Agree.
Mostly European, yeah.
Anyway. I don't disagree with that.
But yeah, just back to the rooms. In looking, I am in love with the original villas at the Grand Floridian. I think they're very well done. Again, I think they, on the refurbishment side of things, they kind of cut some corners there this time around. Still would stay there any day of the week as compared to the Big Pine Key personally. But that's just my thoughts on rooms and everything.
I recently stayed for 2 nights in the Big Pine Key thing, and I loved it.
I loved it.
Derek loves it too.
Derek, you just stayed there too.
I will not use my points as much as I love the original Grand DVC building. Once I stayed at Big Pine Key, right next to the pool, right so close to the lobby, so close to everything else.
It was a great location, yeah.
I will never stay in the original DVC. Of course, unless I need a 1-bedroom, but I got to get points for that. But yeah, I will always stay at Big Pine Key, always.
Yeah.
You guys didn't think it was loud? So when we stayed there, we could hear the neighbors almost as bad as the Poly. The Poly is the worst one on property for that. And I love the Poly, but we could hear both sides.
Yeah, I just had that at Old Key West too.
As if we were having a conversation with them. Like it was not muted, it was loud. And Big Pine Key was the same way.
Well, and funny enough, there were reports of Big Pine Key being a loud building before it was ever converted to DVC. And so that was something that was on the radar. And that was
so they're
experience. That was our experience as well.
We need to take over one of these buildings. Which one should we give them? Give them the loud one. Give them the loud one.
But that's
maybe Derek just doesn't hear it because he's older. I don't know.
There are definitely benefits to Big Pine Key. It has the best views. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna get the roof view that we got in the original villas, which is one of the worst views. But you got great views of the pool, pools of the resort, or views of the resort, views of the water, whatever. Unless you're looking at a tree. But I like Paul. I found it kind of loud. But I think that's what's great about DVC. There's just so many options for everybody. You'd rather stay in Big Pine Key. I'd rather stay in the original.
I bought at Riviera because I'm local and the way I use my points. I feel like I got Grand Floridian too because I've used it at both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, right. Right.
That's the beauty of it. Speaking of points, point charts is another kind of subtopic within this argument. And here is one where they're kind of equal, especially now with the new Big Pine Key. I think that, and you all shake your head, so I feel like I'm just going to move on. But, for anyone that's not familiar with the point charts, in what they've done at Grand Floridian since Big Pine Key came on and where the studio prices are, they have kind of balanced themselves out. Now, I will say on the whole, both of these are probably in a more expensive point chart category as compared to other resorts on property. But when you compare them on this topic alone, the only place where there becomes some severe differences, I think, is maybe in the preferred view at Riviera, but even that, you've got a lake view at Grand Floridian that
the theme park view.
The theme park view is very
Resort
pricey.
Studio is as high as 54 points a night for a studio.
For a studio, yeah,
without a kitchenette, yeah.
So both of these are kind of insane, and
Wow.
probably are probably split that round on the point charts. Overall cost when it comes to purchasing the resort, I would probably put them
They're similar.
in a tie there too. The only thing that's significantly different in this section would be resale, right, Derek?
Yeah. I mean, 100%. That's where, and that's when people talk about the Grand Floridian, and I know it may be like a category in and of itself per se, but I always go back to when you're on vacation. And again, we're lucky enough to kind of live here. And I just went inside the quote unquote Disney bubble today when I had breakfast over at the Polynesian. When I just don't get that same feeling when I'm at the Riviera like I do when I'm at the Grand. There's something about when you park and again, you walk through the lobby and you're in the lobby of the Grand and you walk out the back, even strolling around the grounds. There's nothing like it when you can look across Seven Seas Lagoon and you could see Cinderella Castle and you look over and you watch the monorail pass by and you look over, there's the Contemporary and there's Bay Lake and oh look, there's the Polynesian and then the boats are coming and going. You don't see anything having to do with the quote unquote real world. You truly are immersed in that Disney bubble, which when I'm at the Riviera, even if I'm kind of strolling around, it does take me out of the Disney bubble because I'm at Riviera, but then I look across and there's Caribbean Beach or there's a Skyliner. And when you're in the Riviera, you might look over and say, oh, look, there's traffic and there's cars and there's, it just has kind of a different feel for me. And again, but you nailed it with the rooms. The rooms are phenomenal at the Riviera. We went up to Grand Villa. A friend of ours had a little kind of a going away party.
Forget it.
As much as I love the Grand Floridian Grand Villa, that Riviera Grand Villa, it just knocks your socks off. It's absolutely stunning. If I could take those rooms at Riviera and take the lobby of the Grand Floridian, get rid of the lobby at the Riviera. I remember when I went to the Riviera for the first time, I kind of walked in and I'm like, so where's the lobby? And they're like, well, you're in it. And I'm like, I could touch the ceiling here.
You probably can.
Well, you could.
That's the lobby. So it's the best resorts to me are the ones where you walk through the front door and you're just hit over the head with pixie dust. And you look around like this, right? You go, wow, where am I? Whether that's Animal Kingdom or Wilderness Lodge or the Grand Floridian. The Riviera, to me, when I walk in, it's like, okay, check-in's right over here. Okay, I'm just going to go check in. Then I'm going to take an elevator to my room, and my room's beautiful, but I just don't get that same feeling. So if it's your feeling, God bless you, because I love it. That's what's great about Disney Vacation Clubs.
Yep.
I will say two things that Riviera has going for it that Grand Floridian doesn't is if I was stuck in a hurricane like Jeff Haslam was at Disney, I would rather be at Riviera because you've got the whole cohesive building together and easy access to food and stuff. But I will say one thing about Grand Floridian that drives me a little bit crazy. And I know it's what has to happen. But I do feel like I'm always at risk of getting ran over by a cart, like a golf cart or utility cart.
Yeah.
When I'm at Grand Floridian. And Polly does the same thing. And you don't really have that at the Riviera.
Yeah,
because everything's a little more.
Since they're all
there have been less cart deaths at Riviera.
I did not take that into consideration when I was deciding which resort were hurricane coverage, and deadly golf carts. So
Well,
Yeah.
you got to think of
Revise my
everything.
plan.
That's
The
why
real
we're
the
here.
real question here today was, which resort are you less likely to die at? So sounds like Riviera might win that one.
Well, and you know, Derek was talking about the feeling at Grand Floridian and walking around and those kind of things. And I understand that, but I think you can get that feeling at any Disney resort. And I think you can get it at the Riviera. When we were there the other day, when we had breakfast after Summerfest, I don't spend a lot of time walking around the resorts, but I did. They have that beautiful Rapunzel mural in that causeway. They have the bocce ball, and kids are always out playing it, and the chess set. They have 2 pools, Derek, just like the Grand Floridian. Now, I will say the main pool at the Grand is probably better than the main pool at the Riv, but they have a splash pad, and it's a beautiful Fantasia-themed splash pad.
Yeah.
But then you can make a loop if you want to, and you walk around that lake and kind of cut over in through the trees at the Caribbean beach and stop and grab a drink at the Banana Cabana if you want to. Like, there's plenty of feeling to be had at the Riviera. It's not.
I agree.
I agree.
And you know that, is it the Voyagers Lounge or I can't remember. This right
I
behind the
think so.
coffee shop. You talk about Disney history in a very small space. There's so much to see in that little 14 by 14 room or whatever it is. And it's a beautiful place to just get away from the hustle and bustle, or if you need to do some work. You know, I don't know. I don't think that's enough for me to give the Grand an up there.
Well, okay. So you see how Derek is saying that the lobby isn't as grand at the Riviera? It's not. But there's something about that makes it better. It feels like my resort. Like, it's not overrun by people. It's not incredibly popular. You don't want to visit it if you're not staying there, kind of. So it does have that special feeling to me. It's a positive kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no one
You
is
don't
saying,
want to
how do
visit
we
if you're
get
not staying
not
there.
one person,
Right.
not one person.
The
said
Grand
you
Floridian,
think that.
you can go to look at the lobby because it's just great. That's not at the Riviera, which means you don't have to worry about the people. And let me tell you, they're pretty good about, you cannot get into the Riviera unless you have a reservation. You're not just going to visit. They're not letting you in. So I don't know. It feels like less hustle bustle.
Yeah. Less foot traffic.
But I do feel that there's a specialness there. Again, I feel it in the Grand Floridian for sure, walking the grounds, but I still feel it at the Riviera. Watching the gondolas go to and from, looking at the colored roofs of the Caribbean beach, especially when you're in the gondola going over the roofs. It's like they didn't plan this. These roofs were colored before, but yet it's a really pretty thing. I still get that whole feeling. And those murals just upgrade everything. Makes me feel like they cared with the little tile, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and if you're not staying at the Grand and you're going there for dinner, Paul and Amy can attest to this. They park you in the damn cast member parking lot across the street, and you got to walk. Talk about
That's
dying on your way to dinner.
The worst welcome.
Yeah.
It is.
And that's a good segue into transportation, which that was not a fun experience. And also it was like, you're gonna have to park across the way. What's across the way? I've not done this before. I'm not
right.
And they hand you a slip, and luckily printed on the slip, which I feel like most people do not kind of read.
Well, you're like you just got turned away.
I'm driving and reading
trying to
a slip of
reroute
paper
and drive away and get out of that traffic because that road is kind of crazy.
We got over there and Jeff texted and he said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I don't know. My wife's complaining about it because Amy was not happy."
We're at shades of green.
I couldn't figure out how to get because when you pull up to that parking lot, there's one of those, those thingies.
She got up to the parking lot. There's a gate down, and she's just not happy at this point, and there's no button to push or anything. I can't even find the button. And then all of a sudden, you hear across the speaker, "Don't worry, honey, I got it." And then the gate opens. So obviously,
they heard me.
They heard her the whole time.
Yeah,
and then Jeff texts back. He goes, "Oh, okay, I'm right behind you." He's like,
"It's not very welcoming to go have a meal there with."
No, it's not. It's not. Point well taken.
But on transportation in general, this is one that I will give mostly to the Riviera, and that probably surprises people because of the monorail. But the monorail is one of the main reasons I give it to Riviera, is because when the monorail arrives at Grand Floridian, it's already picked up everyone at Bay Lake Tower. It's already picked up everyone at the TTC and the Polynesian. And now the Polynesian Tower is adding more people to that problem. So the odds of you actually getting on the monorail to go to Magic Kingdom is very slim at that point. It is a packed monorail. And so I hope that they address that issue when the Poly Tower comes online. We've discussed that previously. Walkability is great. It gets a great plug there. But I love the Sky. I've loved every time we've been on the Skyliner. We've never really run into a major like Skyliner issue.
No, I
like
love
people
the
talk
Skyliner.
about like having problems on the Skyliner. My wish that would really give the nod to Riviera on this, you are so close to Epcot. You are so close to Epcot. There's got to be a way to build a small walking path into a back entrance somehow in that general
I feel
area.
like you would have to cross the roads, though, wouldn't you?
Okay, well
Yeah.
they solved that problem at Disney Springs though. They built like
That's true.
the overpass people
Yep.
bridges.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I wish they would just go ahead and move that Skyliner right on over to Disney Springs. It ain't that far,
Right.
you know, and that would give it.
100%.
Yeah.
It's really not that far from Animal Kingdom either.
True.
Slightly off topic, but did we think that depending upon where you would be in the new tower, the Poly Tower, that it may be easier to walk to the Grand Floridian to get to the monorail
Yeah,
than
definitely.
oh yeah.
I didn't even think
Mhm.
about that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Well, and people have complained about, oh, the Skyliner goes down all the time, weather, if there's lightning, whatever. But I'm sorry, there's been 2 times that I've been going to meet Derek, and both times I got stuck on that monorail. Both times. So, yeah, it was probably your fault.
That's what you get for bashing his Grand Floridian. But yeah, I give the nod for transportation to Riviera. If it was a little bit more walkable, that would be great. But just I've not run into any issues with the Skyliner. And to your point, Jeff, it should be expanded by now, or at least there should be discussion of expansion by now. It's a missed opportunity if they haven't. They can, get people places a lot easier. And all of us here, at least, and hopefully some of you out there too, that maybe rent cars when you come down here, you very quickly realize how close certain things are. Even more so than you thought. Like you realize that they're close together, but also just like, it's the same as like Old Key West to Epcot, so close to each other. And then obviously Old Key West to Disney Springs, very close to each other. So it's just a logical expansion.
The other thing is that the Skyliner to me is less like anxiety unless you don't like heights. But you wait, you get in line, and then they put you on the car and you get in. Whereas at the monorail, you're like trying to figure out like when it comes up, you're like, which one has space, which is open, and then you're walking and you don't know if you go left or right, and if you could make the wrong decision, you could pass up the car you should have got in and go too far, and it's stressful.
Just
You can
don't try
accidentally
and
walk
get
onto
off.
the rail and get electrocuted. I mean, there's so many possibilities.
Just
Next
don't
thing
try
you
and
know,
get
you
off the
can't
Skyliner until they're ready for you to, because they shove you right
Yeah,
back
that
on.
happened like this weekend. That was
They
funny.
shove you right back.
No, I was getting off and she's like, "Where are you going?" And she had her hands like on my chest. "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I don't know. I forgot. What happened?"
Sit down.
It was quite scary. Yeah, they must have a problem with people trying to get off.
because I
there.
think once you get off, if you get off at Riviera and you didn't mean to, I don't think you're allowed. You can't just turn around and walk back in. Like they're not allowed.
Yeah, you got to get back in line.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing too on transportation. Don't sleep on the boats from the Grand Floridian to the Magic Kingdom. Those are great. It's a great boat ride.
I'll try to
It's
stay
a great
awake.
Boat ride. It's awesome. I love those. Those are great. And you can rent a boat. So you can rent a pontoon boat there, which if you've never done that, we've talked about it on other shows. It's fantastic. Every trip we stay at the Grand, we always rent a boat for like an hour, tool around there. You can't do that at the Riviera. You can rent a pontoon boat right there. It's awesome.
We're gonna do that this summer, all of us.
So fun.
We
Can't wait.
posted this question in the DVC fan Facebook group, and the results were closer than they are on this panel today. 57% of those that voted, right around 1,000 votes came in. 57% Grand Floridian, 43% Riviera Resort. And so a lot of Riviera fans out there. And I do want to preface that none of this comes off as bashing Riviera. We've said a lot of amazing things about the resort, and I think all of us, it has grown significantly on over the years. And it's honestly, the beauty of Disney Vacation Club is the fact that you have these options and different things appeal to different people. And we can, the other beauty of it all being, well, at least most of the resorts being at Walt Disney World, is that if we like the food at one of these resorts, we can go there. And if we like the rooms at another resort, we can stay there. And I guess if we want to find our perfect transportation, we can decide whether or not we want a monorail or a gondola. Yeah. So all of that.
You guys have all made points, like as we're all talking and discussing, where I literally have been sitting here the whole time when you guys are saying certain things about the Riviera. I'm like, God, you know what? They're right. You know what? That is really, really pretty. So yeah, that's what's great about it. That's what's great.
Couple comments here. Panda, this reminded me of kind of where you went a little bit. Christopher said Riviera because Grand Floridian gets too much traffic from visitors not actually staying at the resort. So, to your point, a lot of people, not as much foot traffic. And so not as many people going there that aren't staying there. Also, convenience of the Skyliner is amazing. Best transportation to the parks.
Where is we own Riviera, which is my kid's favorite for the gelato. Where is the gelato?
Oh,
I would assume Bar Riva, but I don't know of any.
Gidget said, so we own at Riviera, which is my kid's favorite for the gelato, bocce ball, and the Skyliner. But Grand Floridian is my all-time favorite. Love the walking path to Magic Kingdom, view of the castle, all around relaxed vibe, except for Christmas.
The lobby at Christmas.
Gorgeous, but definitely not relaxed.
It is hectic.
I can relate to that. It is definitely, it's beautiful at that time, but it's like you want to enjoy it at like 3 a.m. when everyone else has left. Jillian said Grand Floridian is iconic. It's a dream to stay for non-DVC folks. They think maybe one day I'll get to stay there. Perfect example. Yes. Taking my older brother this summer. He can't believe he'll get to stay there for free.
Yeah. That was, for us, that was the dream resort. And that was, we'll never afford this until we win the lottery. And then we realized we could buy DVC. And it was so surreal the first time we stayed at Grand Floridian.
Yeah.
Okay, so the pool area of the Riviera has a gelato cart that I was unaware of.
Oh.
And you have to get access to the pool area, and everybody's talking about how they love it. So my next thing now is to go to the gelato cart.
I've stayed at the we've stayed at Riviera like 3 times. We've never swam.
You had a list at one point of like what pools on property we had.
Yeah, we got to get the gelato. So I got to
Yeah, we got to go. That needs to be a thing.
The forums are big on, oh my God, you don't know about the gelato at Riviera? I'm like, what? Learn something new.
Emily said Riviera all day. We have points at both, so I'm totally not biased. Everything people hate about Riviera is what I love. Small lobby, one building. Yes, thank you. I can get coffee or breakfast without walking a mile before I even start my park day. No over-the-top theming. I prefer that. It's calming and reminds me of walking around the lobby area of a Disney Cruise Line ship. I don't think every resort should have the subtlety, and I don't think every resort should be in-your-face theming. I like that there's something for everyone, just like we said. I'll also pick the Skyliner over the monorail. Glad both exist, but I'm also glad I seem to be in the minority, so it's easier to get the reservations we want. So, So again, so many different comments from everyone. Thank you all for kind of chiming in.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have to read this one.
Oh.
Marshall Bossick, I choose Riviera. Grand Floridian always feels like I need to be dressed like Aaron Burr.
That's what Jeff was saying.
Just like I said. You need to look like the Monopoly man to go in there.
So yeah, thank you all for kind of chiming in and giving us giving us some things to chat about and sharing your opinions as well. Please continue to do so in the comments of this video. But yeah, that was kind of Riviera versus Grand Floridian. Also, let us know down in the comments, what other resorts would you like us to go fist to fist on and ruin these amazing friendships that we've created over our love for each other's resorts.
Oh, like Jumbo versus Kidani would be cool.
Oh wait. Oh, my ring light's gonna ruin it.
Oh,
who's that?
That's his.
That's his Funko Pop.
Oh, somebody just got functified.
Well, Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the DVC show. And as always, we'll see you next Monday.